This feels fast for a dually. Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video we're gonna be going over a 2020 Ford F-450 in the Lariat package. This is supposed to be kind of like the ultimate Ford truck to get if you're gonna be getting like a normal truck that's not a full-on cabin chassis, that actually has a traditional truck bed. And yeah, so let's get into it. As always, a huge shout and thank you to the Ford here in Provo for providing us with the F-450. Check out the inventory in the link below. Let's get right into it. Under the hood, we have the 6.7 liter power stroke that goes through a 10-speed automatic transmission. Power outputs are 475 horsepower and then 1,050 pound-feet of torque, with the 0 to 60 time of right around 7.5 seconds. And then we'll go over towing capacity once we get to the back. Now let's go over the front end on the F-450. So this one has the newly revised headlights that were released for the 2020 model year. So you still get the full LEDs like the previous year with the 2019. It just looks a little bit cleaner. I definitely love the look of the LED headlights as well. Fog lights are just down below. You've got tow hooks here in the front, an air dam there at the bottom, and then notice just how wide the fender flares here are at the front. I mean, even looking at it from like a front angle, it's just such like a massive and wide truck. Coming around the side here, you've got two 25mm tires on 19.5-inch rims in the front and in the rear as well. And then you actually do get mud flaps already on the truck, which is a nice little touch. All of your regular badging, still the Lariat badge, F-450 badging, 6.7 liter power stroke. Just look at how massive the mirrors are. Side steps along the truck, and then here is a full view on this F-450, and notice that it does have the FX4 package. Looking at the key fob here on the F-450, we have a couple functions. We've got the unlock function, the lock right there in the center, and then you've got your remote start and then the tailgate drop down. We'll do the remote start quickly so you guys can hear what the 6.7 liter power stroke sounds like. And obviously you guys will get some rev clips a little bit later as well. Next thing, we're gonna do the tailgate drop down. So we just have to press this function twice, and then that will drop down the tailgate. You gotta actually press it though, just saying. And you notice that that'll slow lower down. Now here's the bed, and it's absolutely massive back here. You've got all of your plugins. You actually have lighting here in the bed as well. And yeah, I mean, everything is just all set up for towing in the back. You've got the fifth wheel package back there as well if you use that whole setup for this truck, which I mean, if you're getting this truck, I hope that you're towing with it. But yeah, that's just how massive everything is in the back. Quickly focusing on the tailgate for a moment, this one does have the bed step with it. So this whole system pulls out, and you can pull this bar out basically up, and then you can use that to step in and out of the bed. You guys have seen this on Ford trucks for like almost 10 years now, so nothing new there, just normal setup. And then lifting up the tailgate, it's relatively light. Now let's finish things up in the rear. I've got the cargo light on and the LED taillights on so you guys can see what those look like. I really like this new iteration, just a really clean look in general, just how it kind of like swoops down. Yes, you got the FX4 badging right there, and you can see how wide it is with the dually look. Parking sensors in the rear and the receiver hitch pack on the bottom. And then you guys are wondering about towing and payload. So the maximum towing and payload on these F-450s is right around that 24,000 pounds for the towing, and then about 6,200 pounds for the payload. But since this is a Lariat, those numbers are going to go down a little bit because all of the leather and wood trim and all that extra stuff that's added does add weight and reduces both those figures. Now opening up the door in the back, here is the door panel in the rear. You've got the little wood insert right there. And then here are the seats in the back, just like the seats in any other Lariat, whether it's in 150, 250, 350, or 450. So look at the nice little stitching on them. And then you've got a couple little areas, so like you can put a 12 volt back there. You actually get a full power outlet in that little area. And a couple cup holders right there at the top. And then you've got the storage back here, and then extra storage under the seats. You guys have seen me pop back here a million times. Tons of legroom, tons of space. That pulls out to be a little armrest, and well, that's the rear. Front here, we've got the keyless entry, and I just want to show you guys the massive mirrors for a second. So they show pretty much everything around you, and they do have blind spot monitoring. And then you also have a little keypad here on the side. But looking at the door panel here at the front, the only difference is you get a little bit nicer, softer padding here on the armrest area for the door. All of your window controls, mirror controls as well, memory seat adjustments. Then you got your door lock and unlock. Here are the seats in the front of the Lariat, so pretty similar to the seats in the back. Adjustments for the seats are on the side there. That's what the pedal layout looks like in the F-450. And then you have a bunch of controls over here. So that's to drop down the tailgate. You've got your adjustments for the pedals, your light controls, and then those are for the side mirrors to turn the lights on. And there's the whole steering wheel where the adjustment is right there on the side. But there's one more look before we pop in. Now to start up the 450, foot on the brake, pushing that. And built Ford tough, everything will pop on and come to life. Here is the steering wheel in the 450. So you've got your controls for like the radio and volume over on this side, voice command controls just down below, cruise control on the other side, and then these are the controls for the little center screen. And then it's kind of like a little bit of the more like abrasive leather all around, and you got stitching in the center of it. And then coming over here, this is the shifter. It is a column shifter, and then you do have the plus and minus to go through the gears yourself if you'd like. And then the drive mode select is up here, but we'll go over that when we go over the touch screen. And then that's the stock for the lights. And yeah, is the little center screen and the gauge cluster area. Now it just shows you different bits of information. So you can see like fuel economy, for example, which is 3.3 miles per gallon, but this truck has 3.8 miles, so it's not accurate. But yeah, it just gives you different bits of information on the truck. So you can see like towing status, towing information, which is gonna be more important with this particular truck, and then even like the off-road stuff if you do take the 450 on the off-road. And the next thing is the drive modes. So notice that there are a few drive modes. You got the normal, you got the tow haul, eco, slippery, deep snow, and sand, and those are just the different drive modes you can go through. Here's kind of like the center infotainment system. Now up at the top there's a couple controls. So you got the diesel exhaust brake right there, stability control just right next to it, hazard lights, and then hill descent control. And then that is your little lane departure assistance, and then that is the system to go into the cameras, which is what we'll do next. So if we pop it into reverse, notice that the backup camera pops on, and then you can kind of like zoom in with that little backup camera, and it gives you a little bird's eye view. And then if you press the camera button itself, it does give you a couple other views around the truck, basically just to make it so that parking this truck would be a whole lot easier because it's pretty big. The rest of the infotainment system, this is just like Ford's other upgraded infotainment systems. Really easy to use. I feel like response time on it is relatively good. You can use the Ford Pass system with this as well. But yeah, I mean, other than that, it's a good infotainment system. It's easy to use. You do get navigation, so like I can press that and set up your preferences, all that stuff. Goes to the map view, works really well. You can control the climate from here as well, and that's all she wrote. This little area is pretty interesting. So you got the controls for like the radio, for example. This is another area where you have got a 12 volt and then a little power outlet. And then you have the dual zone climate controls just down below, and you got heated and ventilated seats for the front. Driveline selects, you get your 2-wheel high, 4-wheel high, 4-wheel low. Trailer brake controls, and then you got the whole trailer backup system that Ford is famous for. And then finally you got this little storage area that hides the wireless phone charger. So I hope you guys can see that wireless phone charger and the little USB, and you can just press it back and have some beautiful wood trim. This is kind of like the whole center console storage area. So you got a couple cup holders here, some storage in this little area where they have like the shifter and the F-150s, and then opening up the center console. Yep, she's a big one. Nice soft touch material on the top, and then you do get a dual glove box, says Super Duty at the top. And yeah, more nice soft touch at the top of the dash, and that's all. Up top here we do have the power rear sliding window that comes with the 450, auxiliary switches from the factory, so you can hook up lights, all that kind of stuff, a snowplow, whatever you want. And then yes, it does have a full panoramic sunroof in the 450. Now that we've gone over the interior on this F450, let's quickly go over pricing. So this F450 in the Lariat package with all the equipment it has, stickers for about $80,000, which, I mean, it's a little bit more than a 350, but it's not a ton more than a 350. So if you need a little bit extra payload capacity, especially, then it might be a good route to go. That all being said though, let's take this 450 out and see how she drives. Quickly talk about visibility before we set off here in the F450. So visibility over the hood, just like any other F-Series truck, it's pretty easy to see out of, and it just abruptly ends because of like how boxy it is. There's a visibility through the mirrors. It's easy to see just how wide the truck is, and the mirrors do have that little extension thing, which I did want to show you guys. So just press that little button and you can extend the mirrors out past your trailer if you do have a little bit of a wider trailer. There's your visibility through the other mirror, and then here's what it looks like when you have the mirror extended. Sorry, the Maroni's kind of blocking it a little bit. And then there is the visibility all throughout the rear. That all being said, let's set off. We are setting off here in the 2020 F450, and I was actually pretty excited to drive this truck. I've had quite a few requests to review just a 450 in general. And the reason that I've been excited to drive this truck is I've just been wanting to see if this is like a hugely different feeling compared to a 350, right? And first setting off here, it really doesn't feel that much different. Like the ride quality doesn't feel that much bumpier. It feels about the same from what I can perceive, and the noise that comes through, again, it feels about the same. I really like the steering of the truck. The brakes work phenomenally well. Wow, these brakes work so well. And yeah, this truck just so far is doing such a good job. Like, I really like it. The steering feels really good. Like, it's really easy to steer. Like, it really lightens up when you're going slow, but then when you're going faster, it does get a little bit more direct, which I definitely really appreciate. It just makes this truck drive so much better. But we are getting our acceleration with 1,050 pound-feet of torque. This feels fast for a dually. Dualies usually kind of have like a sluggish and slow feel to them. This does not at all. Like, this feels like fast, and it feels powerful for a dually, which is just crazy. And again, it's so easy to maneuver. Like, I feel so comfortable driving this truck. Usually when I get into these big dually trucks, I kind of, again, don't feel that comfortable because it's such a big vehicle. But this truck, like, I feel comfortable with it. I feel fine with it. And that will lead me into summing things up on this F-450. If you're looking for like a crazy tow truck from Ford, right, the 450 is going to be the route to go. And like I said, when you do go for a higher trim like the Lariat, the Platinum, the Limited, it is going to decrease your payload. It is going to decrease your towing a little bit. But you get like this crazy luxury truck that still is extremely capable from a towing and payload perspective. And yeah, I mean, that's just what the 450 is. It's just like, again, this crazy towing truck that just does so much, and it's so quick. And there we have it, everyone, the 2020 F-450 and the Lariat package. And again, a huge shout out and thank you to the Ford here in Provo, Utah for providing us with the F-450. Obviously, they have a ton of new Ford inventory. And by the way, they have like a million Raptors here. I forgot to mention that. I should have mentioned it at the beginning of the video. Like, you've got Raptors here, and then, wait for it, you've got even more, and half of them have the beadlock rims that I love. But yeah, they've got like Raptors on top of Raptors on top of Raptors. So check them out. I'll see you guys.